G'day fellow Helldivers, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button for all my Helldivers 2 content. If you're returning, then welcome back. So which is the best bang for buck premium Warbond in Helldivers 2? You may have asked yourself. Well, I'll give you each of their primary, secondary and grenades a weapon tier rating. And then at the end of this video, I'll give each Warbond an overall score out of 10 so we can find out which is the best value for your hard-earned Superbucks. What qualifies me to do this? Well, I've unlocked almost all except 2 of the weapons in the premium Warbonds, and I've got around 150 hours in mission time. Also, I'll make some comments on the boosters within each of them, although this will not really affect the scores for each premium Warbond, but I'll give some tips on which ones I think are the best to use or not. Chapters will be included, so you can just go to the sections of the Warbonds that you're most interested in, or go straight to the end to find out the scores for each. Alright, let's get started with the first premium Warbond, Steel Veterans. Okay, so we have the ARC-23 Liberator Concussive. This weapon has concussive rounds, and that's it. It's worse than almost all the assault rifles in Helldivers 2, which are pretty weak at the moment. Hopefully they'll fix this over time if we Helldivers make enough noise. You may as well be shooting BB gun against the bugs and the automatons, so I don't recommend it. So yeah, according to my weapon tier rating, this weapon's a D tier. I would give it a lower score if I could, but D is the lowest in this video. Alright, the P4 Senator. Senator's reliable sidearm with high rate of fire, however it lacks the stopping power of some of the other secondary weapons. I don't really find any of the sidearm pistols attractive choice, but maybe that's just me. The weapon is a C tier for me. Alright, onto the G10 Incendiary. Powerful throwable weapon, deal massive damage to groups of enemies, however it has a timer fuse, so it's not as good as the G13 Impact Incendiary in the Polar Patriots Warbond, which we'll talk about soon. This weapon is still an A tier for me. The SG225 IE Breaker Incendiary Shotgun. Fantastic pick up against the bugs, or fantastic pick should I say against the bugs. It spreads fire amongst groups of enemies and damages them over time. However, it has a smaller range than the SG225 Breaker and is best used against the bugs. This weapon is an S tier for me. It's one of the best weapons in the games and I do use it regularly. So yeah, highly recommended by me. Definitely an S tier there. Alright, we've got the booster. Steel Veterans is the flexible reinforcement budget. It reduces the time until reinforcements are granted. This for me is only really useful when you maybe want to play solo or have a group that's lower level playing a high level and may die more frequently because they don't have as good equipment at the higher levels. It's not used by me much, but it's okay for those sort of situations. Alright, now onto the JAR 5 Dominator. Dominator is a powerful weapon with incredible range, but is best used in first person mode because it's got a large slow aim and it sways very slowly, making it not particularly flexible in close range fights. Extremely good against the robots, but not so much against the bugs, who swarm very quickly. Weapon is definitely an S tier for me. I use it all the time against the automatons. Okay, now onto the second premium Warbond, the Cutting Edge. So first up, we have the booster, which is the Localization Confusion. It's supposed to increase the time between enemy encounters, but I haven't really noticed it when used, but I guess it works. Some Helldivers may use this, but for me, I prefer other boosters to this. They're much better options than this one. Alright, next we've got the LAS-16 Sickle energy-based rifle. Sickle's a laser weapon with good range, excellent at wiping multiple lower to medium enemies at once. Has a decent fire rate, however it is slower to reload due to its overheating mechanic. But if you can control the heat, it has unlimited ammo. This weapon is definitely an S tier in my opinion. It is popular amongst Helldivers and I see them use it quite a bit. I did use it a lot when it first came out. And it's definitely great because of the no ammo requirement if you use it properly. Alright, next we have the SG-8P Punisher Plasma Rifle. Punisher's a plasma weapon with high rate of fire. I'd recommend it more against the bots than the bugs, though not as ideal as the Plas 1 Scorcher. It's good at staggering all the really annoying automaton enemy types and can take out the Strider with a few frontal hits. The weapon is in a B tier for me, so definitely recommended. Pretty good weapon, but not one that I use a huge amount. Alright, next we have the G23 Stun Grenade. G23 can stun multiple enemies at once, great for crowd control on both bugs and bots. It does have a limited number of uses, like all grenades, to take down maybe some armor with extra grenade slots for it to get the best value out of it. I would classify this as an S tier, highly recommended by me, and this is one of the ones I use regularly. Okay, now we're on to the Arc 12 Blitzer. Quite hard for a primary weapon. Oh, sorry, it hits quite hard for a primary weapon. It's one of the very few guns that can one-shot tough bugs like Stalkers and Brood Commanders, but the Arc 12 Blitzer isn't consistent with its damage output. While it can kill high health enemies with one blast, it can't do so regularly. I'll leave it at a C for this stage. It is used a fair amount now amongst the Helldivers, so yeah, quite popular. Alright, the Las 7 Dagger, which is one of the ones I don't actually have. This one, as well as the G10 Incendiary, these are the two I don't have. The Dagger is a laser pistol with a high rate of fire, but lacks stopping power, as some of the other weapons. It's good, it doesn't require ammo, of course, if the heat built up is controlled, like the Las 16 Sickle. But I'll give this one a C, not recommended. It's a bit of a niche weapon, in my opinion. Alright, thirdly we have the Democratic Detonation Premium Warbond. Now, the G123 Thermite Grenade, should I say. First sticky grenade in Helldivers II, designed to be thrown at armor targets. It will stick to them and deal damage over a few seconds. However, the damage is insufficient to justify giving up the area effect damage that most grenades do, since its primary use is for dealing with heavily armoured enemies like hulks and chargers. The fact that it takes up to 3 grenades to kill one of them makes most players choose to avoid it. It's a C for me. Alright, the BR-14 Adjudicator Marksman Rifle. Adjudicator is a rare primary weapon that can pierce medium armour, but apparently it doesn't. It's supposed to be able to take out Scout Striders, Hive Guards, other enemies without having to aim for their weak spots, but alas, rarely can. Despite penetrating medium armour, this gun is not swift at killing enemies as energy weapons like Sickle or the Scorcher for bugs and automatons. It does have minimal recoil, however, players looking for a niche assault rifle may be happy with it nonetheless, I guess. As mentioned previously, like all so-called assault rifles in Helldivers 2, it's extremely disappointing. This is a D tier for me. Okay, the booster in Democratic Detonation is Expert Extraction Pilot, which lowers the time it takes to take the extraction shuttle, Pelican 1, to reach the extraction beacon. For me, it's not worth it, the little time that it shaves off. Not one I use much. There's a lot of other better booster choices, such as muscle, stimulant, and stamina boost. Alright, the R36 Eruptor was very popular when it was released. Powerful weapon with incredible range before it was nerfed in patch 300, where it had its magazine reduced from 12 to 6, and the shrapnel damage removed in patch 302, which was a mistake in my opinion. I stopped using it as soon as developers made these changes. It's fantastic at destroying structures, plugging nest holes and demolishing outpost fabricators, and it used to be able to kill charges in a couple of shots before it was nerfed. It does have great medium armor penetration, apparently. However, it's best used in first person mode, making it not particularly flexible in close range fights. This weapon would have been an S tier now, but it's a C in my opinion. Not used much anymore in Helldivers 2 community. It's been talked about a lot since its nerf for all the wrong reasons. Alright, now we have the GP31 Grenade Pistol. GP31 Grenade Pistol is a unique sidearm that fires grenades, offers unique combat options, has a good amount of ammo, which is about 8. Very slow single firing reload, but it's fantastic at taking out bug holes, fabricators, and enemies for emergency crowd control. This weapon is an S tier and one I also use regularly. Okay, now we have the CB9 exploding crossbow. The crossbow's unique weapon that fires explosive bolts, lets players have their pick of weaponry that is nothing like what was available before. However, it's got a very slow reload speed and it's just awkward in my opinion to use. Weapon is a C, just doesn't seem to have the damage output that it states on its description. It says 420, but I don't see that damage when I'm actually using it. So, all right. Now onto the Polar Patriots. So the AR-61 Tenderizer. Assault rifle. That says it all. Supposed to be a reliable assault rifle with a high rate of fire, but it's a Helldivers II assault rifle, so there you go. Doesn't have the stopping power like all the other assault rifles in Helldivers II, and according to my tier rating, it gets a D. Okay, the booster is motivational shocks. To recover faster after attacks such as acid, but doesn't work for AoE such as EMS, which would be nice. I don't understand why not. Why can't it just affect all slows? So again, not one I would recommend to use. It may be a viable option to use instead of the personal shield pack, so you can free up a backpack slot. So there is that, I guess. But yeah, not one I would recommend. Okay, the SMG 72 Pummeler. Submachine gun, single-handed, high rate of fire, good for single-hand use with the shield or carrying the data briefcase in specific missions. However, its magazine capacity, however, is decent at 45, but has a very slow fire rate, but has a stagger ability. Weapons an A tier for me, used quite a bit by Helldivers in particular missions, still a bit underwhelming, but okay. Yeah, so I'll give that an A tier for that weapon. Alright, now we have the G13 Incendiary impact grenade. Throwable, deal massive damage, groups of enemies, but again it has limited number because it's a grenade, only 4. But I would recommend the armor with extra grenade slots to take down for this one. Weapon is an A tier for me. I use it now that it's been released in this Warbond pack. I like that it has impact, has faster kill effect for damage and crowd control, mainly for bugs, but it's still good against bots. Alright, the Plaz 101 Purifier. Deary me. This is just a lesser version of the Plaz 1 Scorcher, isn't it? It's low fire rate, takes a long time to charge, a smaller magazine capacity, and it's a D tier for me. Much less capable version of the Plaz Scorcher. So why is it here? I guess I had to add something in the Warbond. Alright, the P113 Verdict Secondary. Again, it's supposed to be a powerful sidearm with a high rate of fire, however it lacks the stopping power of some other weapons, and it only has a 10 round magazine. I'd give this a B tier, nothing else to really say about it. On paper it looks good, but doesn't really perform as expected. Alright, so now I'll put up the stats for each Warbond. That's the last of them. So you can see here which one I think is the best, and funnily enough, they actually, you can see here, go down from the first release to the last. So yeah, they seem to be getting worse as they release new Warbonds. But yeah, let me end just by saying that I mainly play Helldive now. I do play sometimes on lower levels for various reasons, such as with friends or farming super credits or samples, and I really only regularly use about 4 of the primary weapons. The Breaker Incendiary, the Normal Breaker, Plaz 1 Scorcher, and the Jar 5 Dominator. I use about 3 of the grenades, the Incendiary Impact, Normal Impact, and the Stun. And I use about 2 of the secondaries, which is the Grenade Pistol and the P19 Redeemer. Some of which are not in any of the premium Warbonds, but are actually in the free Warbonds we got at the launch of the game. So let's just say that changes to a lot of the weapons, especially the assault rifles, need to be done for Helldivers to use them more. Otherwise, I think they'll just be gathering dust for the lifetime of the game. But yeah, let me know what you think down in the comments. So that's all for today's guide on the best premium Warbond for your Superbucks. Don't forget to like this video if you found it helpful and share it with your fellow Helldivers. Stay tuned for more updates, and as always, keep fighting for Super Earth. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you all in the next video. Bye bye for now.